Hello everyone, I'm Paul Larson, CEO of Western CPE. I'm here in Las Vegas at the Tropicana. If you look behind me, you see the pool, you might hear a helicopter fly over. We gather here every fall with our top tax instructors from around the country to discuss the changes that have occurred this year and how we might relate those changes to the tax preparers in the world. This evening I'm here with Joe Scutellaro. He has his own firm in New Jersey, and you'll pick up pretty quickly he's a Jersey guy. Joe has particular expertise in foreign informational disclosures and returns and voluntary offshore disclosure program. Joe, what's the most important question a person has to ask about these matters?
Well, I used to always think the most important question an accountant should or a tax preparer should ask their client is, how do you plan on paying for me to do your tax return? But these days, I think by far the most important question you could ask your client is, have you invested in any foreign assets? With the global economy we have these days, you find that more and more clients, even the smaller clients, may wind up having a foreign annuity, a foreign bank account, which is probably the most prevalent, investment in a foreign partnership. And if you don't ask the question, you're not going to know that you need to file one of these forms. I really feel that the use of organizers, when you communicate with your client, mailing them a client organizer, and then following up to make sure they answered the questions, and in particular, the question about foreign assets, because then the light will go on and you'll know that maybe I have to file a form. And the reason why it's so important are the penalties associated with these forms, which can really be onerous. The penalties are really not what most tax practitioners are used to. They mostly start off at $10,000. So for just not filing one of these forms, it could be $10,000, and they could go up to hundreds of thousands of dollars. And as I said, most times when we do a tax return, we know what the tax is, and the penalty is going to be based on that tax. But when you deal with informational returns, there's no tax. So the penalties are much more arbitrary than what we're used to based on the tax, and a lot of times they're based on the value of the asset, as much as 50% of the value of the asset. So that's how you can see you can get into hundreds of thousands of dollars, which could be significant and could give the tax preparer a high level of exposure if their client winds up having a penalty and they didn't ask the question. So that's why it's a very important question.
And as a tax preparer, what do you do when you find a client, you discover they should have done the disclosure they didn't? What do you do at that point?
Well, that's a great question, Paul, because the good news here is there is a program. The Treasury Department has a program. They've had a program for a number of years now. As they started to crack down on this, they realized how many people are out there who weren't filing these forms, because these forms have been around for a while. This is nothing new. They've been adding new forms, but for instance, the TDF 90, where you report foreign bank accounts, has been around forever. But they've only now really started to enforce it. And coincidental with that, they've come up with this program called the Voluntary Offshore Disclosure Program. And it's kind of like an amnesty program, which is going to allow you to have your client come forward. Now, they're going to have to answer a lot of questions, fill out a lot of forms, and it's a little scary because it goes through the criminal investigation area of the IRS, not the normal collection. But if you're in that situation, you really want to go through this program because it allows for lower penalties if you come forward voluntarily.
Western CP presents Federal Tax Update and combined federal and California tax update seminars in 48 cities around the country. For the closest location to you, visit westerncp.com. In addition, we have special 16 and 8-hour tax update webcasts plus self-study courses. You can find these also at our website. Western CP is the premier provider of tax update instruction in the country.